to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard T. Min. This is the award-winning Fan Show. That's right, everybody's a fan of something, and we have got something for every fan, unless you are a fan of the AAF. This is normally our preview day for the next week of the Alliance of American Football, but as of Tuesday afternoon, the AAF is no more. Moment of silence. Okay, so anyway, that moment of silence was longer than the league actually lasted, and as Adam is chiming in the chat already that the Fan Show has lasted longer than the AAF, which it's not that hard. I had my rant on Tuesday where I said that if developmental leagues have taught us anything, or anything that has been a failure of something that we are now trying to attempt ourselves, it should be to learn from their mistakes. How is this thing financially a debacle? How is it not secure when there was so much going right for it? I will admit, wholeheartedly and openly, I bought the whole thing hook, line, and sinker. I think you guys all saw that, see that. I realize that. But is it shame on me for not knowing any better? No. I was an optimist. I wanted something like this to actually work, and I believe that it should have, it could have, it would have. It was right there. If they just would have answered the one big question, where is the money going to come from? First and foremost. So we'll talk a little bit more about that after headlines, of course, or during headlines, I should say. But it kind of frees up my Thursday, right? Normally this is our preview day where we're trying to squeeze in action-packed week of IFL football as well as AAF football, and now we just have to worry about the one until the National Arena League starts up, and of course maybe the AFL. We'll see. There's a few things that are in the works right now as far as possibilities go. And so with that, without further ado or any more delay, please feel free to jump in on the chat. While I go into headlines, we'll go ahead and start off with this question right now. First and foremost, what match are you looking the most forward to Wrestlemania 35 this weekend? Because we will talk about that in the headlines. And then if you're not a wrestling fan, do you agree with my picks for the Outstanding Players of the Month? If you've seen those posted on the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages for the Fan Show. So let's go ahead, let's get to the headlines today. And headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. They make fantastic things like these stickers that we have here. We've got these ones from a pub crawl and these ones that you will be seeing a lot of later. I was going to say this month, but you won't because that's when the taping is and then they air it later. And that is the Robotics and Mechanics and Tech Division / and that is our robot logo, if you will, for BattleBots. But they make great stickers. They make everything from microphone blocks like this. They didn't make these ones, but I'm going to have them make new ones because those ones are kind of crap. And then also they do t-shirts, hats, beanies, polos, books, tablecloths, backdrops, drop and repeats, table runners, everything that you could need for your marketing, promotional, or event purposes. Dynamite Enterprises can do it for you. You just need to hit them up, either Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com, or if you're not sure of what you want, what you're looking for, then you can always visit their website, dynamiteenterprises.com, and have a peek at all the things that they offer, which I gotta say, I don't think our headlines portion can be as long as what they offer because they continue to grow. But if you have an idea for it, chances are they can do it. 99% sure that they can do it on that. So yes, Ethan, dynamiteenterprises.com, and they can help you customize your world. So here we are with episode 402. 400 down, and we'll see how many more to go. I don't know. The current account that I have with Spreaker is 84% full right now, and I'm allotted 500 hours. So I told the wife, I keep getting notifications to upgrade. I told the wife, I said, if I don't make it by episode 500, like, am I going to pay more to do this thing still? Hey, where are you going? Oh. Fozzie's going to help me with headlines. So episode 402, on to the next 100, which the big one would be 500, which I have no idea what I would do for that one yet. It's a milestone. It's a monumental milestone, isn't it? Isn't it, Fozzie? You were all about the microphone earlier today, and now you're like, I don't know what to say. What do you want to say? Say something. Say something. I love you, bud. All right, he's going to run off now. He was all for it earlier. You saw the pictures. Anyway, episode 500, it's a ways away, but I would like to do something big for it. Fun fact, took a look at the Guinness Book of World Records for podcasts. There's not a lot of them. I think Adam Carolla holds like the only Guinness World Record for a podcast. So I was thinking maybe I could set one for longest live broadcasted uninterrupted podcast. I mean, 500's a ways away, obviously, and that would be a ways away. But something conceivable like that could have a lot of fun with. So I guess we can start now. Your ideas for 500, but also match you're looking most forward to at WrestleMania, and if you agree with my players of the month, which are, in case you missed it, big congratulations to the 3 outstanding players of the month for special teams. Miles Bergner, I really think that his numbers spoke for themselves, and again, the Storm have played 5 games, and when I was going through the stats, I was like, well, how can I do March when some teams played the end of February, and how can I have a good months worth of stats that aren't skewed towards one person or the other, as some teams have played 5 games while others have played 4. Thankfully, everybody played 4 full games by the end of last weekend. So that was easy to do. So I if they played 5 games, I wrote down the stats for the 5, and then I took whichever one was the outlier as far as the worst performance. I just scratched it off. I said, doesn't count. Didn't matter if it was the February game or this last game. It didn't. I didn't want them to be hurt by a poor performance when they had an extra game in there than everybody else, and I didn't want that to help them either. So Miles Bergner, the dude was phenomenal. I mean, I've got his stats right here. He was 86% converting field goals, both field goals and PATs, and that's a really good percentage to have. 86%. He accounted for 50 points of all the points that Sioux Falls has accumulated over the season. He was worth 50 of them. And again, this is with the fact that there was a game in there where he did not make any field goals. He was 6 for 10 on PATs, and that counted for 6 points. So this isn't even like what he's actually contributed to the team. This was just based on the best 4. He had a game winner. He had a long of 54, which is the longest that we've seen this season, so I felt that it was incredibly worthy of him to be that. Another notable consideration was Desmond Epps. He had a phenomenal first portion of the season so far on the special team side of things, and so did Chapman. But yeah, Epps has been consistent. He's just only had the one kick return for a touchdown, but otherwise he's been a huge factor in Arizona's success as far as providing them with great field position to start their drives. Speaking of great field position to start drives, your outstanding offensive player of the month went to Jabari Lawley, a guy who has played consistently well with consistently 2 different quarterbacks. The first 2 games of the season with Arizona, they had Reed play one half and Ziemba play the second. And then Reed just got hurt, and he hasn't really seen one quarterback the whole game because some of the games they've been so far ahead that they've put in the guy that is, I guess, technically the backup. So, unfortunately, Reed's season has ended. They have signed a new quarterback. I saw that earlier today. The name escapes me, so I apologize. But Jabari Lawley, man, he has been their workhorse. He has been consistently good in an offense with a lot of inconsistency. A few of their guys have gotten called up to the AFL, where they will go play. So, I thought it was well-deserved by him. Notable nominees that I also considered were obviously Daquan Neal and E.J. Hilliard. Despite the fact that he hasn't been an outstanding player of the week and that they have a 2-3 record, Hilliard has done phenomenal offensively as a quarterback. His numbers are great. But Jabari Lawley, I felt, was the one that deserved it. In fact, I have his numbers right here. Jabari Lawley, running back, 262 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, 118 receiving yards. He's a running back in an arena setting, okay? These numbers are incredible. And 4 touchdowns. And he's currently he's tied for first as far as scoring leaders with Quentin Pedroza, and a lot of reason why Quentin's doing so well is because of Hilliard. But yeah, this is what my week looked like. A lot of stats. And then your outstanding defensive player of the month was the most recent outstanding defensive player of the week, Zach Allen. He leads the league in tackles right now. He's been consistently good on all facets of the defensive side of the ball, which is tackles for loss, sacks, and then an interception. And he has been one of few to actually play 4 games this season, which was a stat that blew my mind, that I couldn't find more than a handful of guys that have played 4 games or more this season. So that factored in, obviously, but it shows. The more you play, the more you can perform and be good, and that's what Zach Allen has done. So congratulations to the 3 outstanding players of the month. And let's see here. Adam weighs in. He says, let's see here. I think a lot of people bought in, myself included, but we don't know how bad it actually was in the shadows. I'm hearing it was pretty bad. This, of course, concerning the AAF, and there was a few tweets that I've seen. I mean, it sounds like an ownership group that, I don't know, maybe they let the fans call the plays, and there's an app that you download, and it's this big gimmicky thing that they got a hold of the league, and they said, hey, let's give this a try. And then, 3/4 of the way through, they said, yeah, it would, whatever. And then they decided no. So it really seemed very similar to that situation 2017 in the IFL when that ownership group wanted to cut bail and run because they had their sample size now. But the AAF, we're going to get more and more that comes out, and it's probably going to be uglier and uglier. And that's sort of, you have to take that with a grain of salt right now, because since the AAF is now folded, or is it still technically operations are suspended? Anyway, the players are home or wherever they can go. But now is when you're going to hear the worst of it, because people won't hold back. They got burned by this league. People, I hear a lot, people I know personally trying to get refunds for either season tickets that they bought of games that will not be played, or people that bought single game tickets for games that are not going to happen. And so there's that side of it. There's the aspect of like, what wasn't being paid, what got paid and what didn't get paid, what was on the basis of IOUs. I mean, you had a guy who owns an NHL hockey team that saves this thing, that bails them out, but yet things aren't getting paid. That doesn't make any sense to me. So we're going to hear the worst of it, because people will not hold back. They feel hurt, offended, betrayed, what have you. And so this is the tip of the iceberg right now for the AAF. Teams can issue statements saying, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for a great season, and you can crown the Apollos as your champions, but we are going to see the worst of this from now moving forward, as far as the AAF is something to talk about, which is going to be for a while, because they're one of the only leagues I know that couldn't finish a whole season. We've had leagues where teams have folded. We see that in the indoor game all the time, but this is one of the only times that a league full-on folded midway through. I'm sure there's a few one-off semi-pro Midwest leagues or indoor leagues that have, but on this scale, this is the first time that I've seen this happen that I can recall. The XFL, like I said on Tuesday, they actually went bell to bell. They finished their season. They didn't have another one, but they at least finished what they started. Let's see. Adam says another big match for the weekend is the promotion in the East. Once Upon a Time, a beginning features Mr. Touchdown versus the O. Okay. And then let's see here. The O, Timey King of Swing Dasher, Hatfield in ladder match. Dude, what? Like, Adam, I'm trying to read your comments here, and I'm having a hard time. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, I see. It's an indie promotion going on here. Yes, that is true. Let's see. And yes, Blink 182 shirt today. We talked WrestleMania yesterday for a wrestling division special that we did. So that was a lot of fun. And we covered a lot of ground. I felt that James and I were on the same page for the most part. He feels like of everybody that might retain that people don't want to is going to be Brock Lesnar, because you have the three big ones, right? You have Kofi versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE title. You have the triple threat of Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte for the women's now unified titles. And then, of course, the universal title of Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. And he said yesterday, he's like, just because it's WrestleMania doesn't mean all the faces get to win and all the heels get to lose. Which I agree, but it is like that one time that you could honestly get away with that and nobody would be upset or angry about it. Like, you could give the people what they want one time a year and it would be worth it. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's either going to be that Brock retains or Daniel Bryan retains. And I guess at this point it's going to be a move about which one are you willing to take heat over more, and which one I guess is going to make you more money, which would, I guess, make that first point kind of a moot point. But James went on to say that he felt the women's match, though, has to go according to plan. It's the one thing that they can't screw up. And I'll agree with him. Antonio, he says the Iconics are going to win the women's tag titles. We talked about that as well. Sasha and Bayley, I think, could retain. I actually said that Beth Phoenix and Natalya could win and then drop them like the next Tuesday on SmackDown just to kind of have that moment. But I'm hearing that Beth Phoenix is very much only back just for the purposes of this WrestleMania. Kurt Angle is going to wrestle Baron Corbin, which is dumb. The whole farewell tour has been terribly done and put together. We talked about that yesterday. So if you guys are curious about our thoughts, me and the sports guy James, a long time, one of my best friends, he actually officiated my wedding. He's one of the best in wrestling knowledge that I know. Go listen to that special. It's available now. You guys can go check it out. As far as today goes, though, week 7. I was about ready to say let's take a look at what's ahead for the AAF, and that's not a thing right now. It's not. Hopefully you guys agree with my picks for the outstanding players of the month, special teams, offensive and defensive. So week 7, we start the month of April, so we will be on the lookout for your next outstanding players of the month for the month of April. And Friday, tomorrow night, we start off just like we ended last month with a Friday matchup between the Steamwheelers and the Blizzard, which, hey, I'll be honest, I'm normally not a fan of back-to-back matchups like this that are the same, but this one I like. I really like Green Bay and Quad City. It wasn't one of those high-scoring games that we're used to at this level with indoor style of play, but I felt it was a great game. The amount of luck that Green Bay needed for that last minute to go their way is something that you're never going to forget. Now, I don't know whose side luck will be on for this game. Maybe it's Quad City that has to mount a comeback with time expiring, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we get from this, because I think it's a great matchup. On paper, it's fantastic. Green Bay is one of the best defenses right now, and Quad City is one of the best offenses, despite what their records may indicate. And that's why you can say that one side of the ball is one of the best and the other, but not their counterpart. So Green Bay's offense, obviously not one of the best in the league, and it shows. Quad City's defense, not one of the best in the league, and it kind of shows. But 3-2 versus 2-3, and now it's in Green Bay instead of Quad City. We'll see what happens there. Then Saturday, we've got we've got all the rest of them. So we see all 10 teams in action. We've got 5 games. Saturday, we will see Sioux Falls take on the Bismarck Bucks for the second time this season. According to Mike Tatum, this will be a very different game. I certainly hope so. Last one, bit one-sided. Sioux Falls, though, obviously coming from a big loss against Arizona. On the road, granted, they're on the road again. They're on the road a lot to start the season. Same with Iowa. Arizona, though, home a lot to start the season. Just saying. And then, let's see, we have San Diego against Arizona. I talked to Chris McAllister. He's my special guest tonight from the Arizona Rattlers. I talked to him about this game. I said, is there such a thing as a trap game in the IFL and in the indoor game? And he believes that there is, but he doesn't personally believe in trap games. He treats every game like it's, just another game on the schedule. So we'll hear from him later. The Cedar Rapids River Kings, they play for the second week in a row against the Iowa Barnstormers. This time it is in Iowa in front of their home crowd, so they'll be home for only the second time this season, and we're in week 7. And then finally, to close us out on Saturday night, will be Tucson against the Tucson Sugar Skulls against the Nebraska Danger. And Nebraska, coming off of a pretty hard-fought win against Bismarck just last week, and Tucson coming off a pretty decent win against San Diego. Tucson's defense doing great work, Nebraska's offense doing great work, so there's a matchup that you'll want to watch for that one. So Friday night, make sure that you mark your calendars, set your alarms for the Steam Wheelers and the Blizzard. Kickoff will be 4:05 Pacific, 7:05 Eastern, 6:05 Central Time. And then Saturday, the first game will be Sioux Falls versus Bismarck. That, again, is 7:05 Eastern, 4:05 Pacific, 6:05 Central. And then the rest of the games are an hour after that. So San Diego and Arizona will be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 7 Central. Cedar Rapids at Iowa, 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central. And finally, Tucson and Nebraska, 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of you guys out and about. You didn't necessarily miss it, Tony. Tony says I missed your show last night because I didn't do it live. It's on demand. We recorded it, and I had a scheduling conflict where I couldn't come on, and I didn't want to do the live with another person here just because I don't want them to be outside their comfort zone for doing the live, because James, he's kind of shy. But when you get him talking about wrestling, he does great. But I didn't want to put him outside of his comfort zone or anything like that. So I said, we'll just record this thing. We'll do an hour. We'll do a special. I'll post it the time that we would normally do the regularly broadcasted show. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So we did that. It was good. I felt a lot of great things were discussed. We talked about everything from NXT, the Hall of Fame, to, of course, WrestleMania, and our thoughts on certain superstars, matches, and what we think, our predictions for WrestleMania. We have Week 7 coming up this weekend. And outdoor news, of course, go and follow All-Star Bass Fishing. Their Bass Battles tour continues, as well as for FLW. BattleBots taping is later this month. That's right, it's finally April. I can say Long Beach, California. BattleBots, if you're in the area and you want to go see BattleBots live, tickets are still available, but they're far and few. This is the month that we get Avengers Endgame. Hallelujah! I am so excited for that. There's your pop culture news. Avengers Endgame. It's happening. It's here this month, the end of the month. And tickets are already, they're selling so fast. I went and checked last night when they went on sale, and I was like, damn it. So going to have to get those tomorrow if I can. I want to see it the first time in IMAX. So if that means I have to wait until like the next day or like a Monday, I'm willing to do that. But I swear to God, if anybody spoils this movie for me, I will find you and I will hurt you. And Antonio, that includes you too, because you made a similar threat to me. Make sure that you've checked out the most recent Fan Show Top 10. Don't get it confused with the imitators out there, because there's a few. This is the original Top 10 plays of the week. I'm sorry. It's too funny. And then, of course, share and like the different players of the week, players of the month. Kickers Need Love 2 segments. Those are always a lot of fun to do. We've got the most recent ones of those. And then let's see here. Adam says, every journey has an ending. Avengers Endgame. Can we avenge the fallen that is the AAF? There's a question I have for you guys. Hello, Don. Don, I believe, is in Seattle right now. Hope all is well with you also. And I don't know if you guys have tried this. There's been several posts on social media. This will be the last thing that I say before we get into my interview with Chris McAllister. But I guess Heinz, or is it Hunt's, one of the two ketchup companies keeps doing like random mixes, like barbecue and ranch. It's like Ranch Q or BB Ranch or something. And then they've also done it with ranch and ketchup, and they're calling it like Cranch or something. So they keep going further and further with this, and I've noticed, though, that M&M's is kind of doing something similar. I'm trying these. Hazelnut spread, it's different. They're different. I don't know how I feel about these just yet. It's like you bite into them thinking that they're going to be like maybe a peanut butter M&M, but they're a hazelnut M&M. But they're okay. They're all right, you know. It is what it is. But I'm drinking Bang today instead of vanilla Coke so that Antonio would actually tune in and stay tuned in. And don't forget, if you can't listen live, please subscribe. iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. In fact, today, Throwback Thursday, we had Charlotte Flair on the show, not in person, but she did phone in for an interview segment. This was back in 2017. We fast forward 2 years. She talked about the potential of having the match that she will have this weekend. Granted, it's a triple threat, not a one-on-one, but she does go on record to say what it would mean to her to face Becky Lynch in the main event of WrestleMania. So you guys can go and listen back to that. We had Mick Foley on one time. So I was going through some photos today, updating some of the albums on the show's Facebook page, and realized that we've had a lot of really great guests. And I'm looking forward to what the future holds for these great guests. But yes, the fan show is often imitated, but never, ever duplicated. They can try, but they will not succeed. And I might end up fighting people at the end of the season if this stuff, you know. But I want to say I'm flattered, and I am in a way. But at the same time, why not me? Oh, well. So that's going to do it for today's headlines. I thank all of you for participating in the Facebook Live, which we do the first portion of the show, however long it takes. We're going a little longer this time because there's no AAF stuff to talk about, and it's the preview episode. We look ahead at the weekend, and we'll be back Tuesday, of course. Don also says not quite in Seattle yet. Next week, leaving here Thursday. Okay, and jalapeno M&M's rock. I didn't even know those were a thing, Antonia. So thank you guys for everything, for tuning in. I'm looking forward to another great month with all of you. March was fantastic. Didn't even need the assistance of a verified profile sharing the stuff like I had with BattleBots. You guys did this all on your own. So a huge shout out to all of you in Fan Nation. I hope April exceeds and lives up to all of your expectations. I'm certainly excited about it. We got more stops on the Fan Show tour coming up. We did the first one in March, and so early in March, I'm ready to get back out there again. So go and buy a shirt, go and give us a like, a share, a follow, anything that you can do to help spread the good word that is the Fan Show. I appreciate you guys. That's why I send you links to the Fan Show Top 10 and everything else so that you guys can share it with your friends and they can share it with theirs and so on and so on and so forth. Because eventually I'd like to be the guy, but for right now I'm just a guy who is a connoisseur of football and nonsense. And so here we are. The interview with Chris McAllister of the Arizona Rattlers. Click that link, join in on the chat, and we'll see you next time, Fan Nation. So enjoy my conversation with Chris McAllister. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is a former Fan Show player of the game, and one of the big reasons that the Arizona Rattlers are off to an undefeated start. He is one of the members of that big defense. It is Chris McAllister. How you doing, man? Welcome back.
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think this season has been a lot of fun. Obviously, you guys last year fell just a bit short of your goal, so it seems like this year Coach Guy kind of came in with this mindset of, we're not going to leave anything but everything out on that field, and we're not going to leave any question marks. We want to leave no doubt, and you guys have certainly performed very, very well. What would you say has been the difference between last year's squad and this year's squad?
I would just say it's just a higher level of focus. Like you were mentioned earlier, we fell a little short last year, and for the few guys that are still on the team this year, they kind of remember that feeling, walking up the field. And it's not, the best feeling in the world to work all season and come up just short. So, I think guys remember what that felt like. And, they came in this camp and just worked really, really hard, and focused on the minor details that, you kind of forget about. We kind of went back to the basics and just wanted to, kind of finish this time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of guys. It probably leaves a sour taste in your mouth to get so close after winning a championship the year prior and then not being able to get back to defend that title because, this isn't boxing, this isn't UFC, it's not wrestling. The champ doesn't stay the champ until it's time to defend it. You got to get all the way back there from square one, but you guys are on the right path now this year, and you guys just had a really tough game against another undefeated no more opponent in Sioux Falls. And I got to say, I named Jabray Lawley my outstanding offensive player of the month because for a time there you guys were doing two different quarterbacks, but his play has been consistent. What's it been like watching him out there on the field from the sidelines when the defense is not in play?
He's a guy that gives you a lot of energy. Watching, he finishes runs. You rarely see him receiving the hit. He's he's the hitter when he has the football, and that's really exciting to watch. It's it fires you up when you're on the sideline and you just see him running people over and things like that. You keep on wanting to give him the ball. You want the team to give him the ball to see what else he's going to do with it. So, it's just like a boost of energy. And, he's just a good guy on and off the field to have. He's great.
Yeah, he seems like a real team player. What I've gathered from watching from home anyway so far. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a very powerful back and can kind of go out there and do it all and fit into any situation. So you guys have had high-powered offense, but really your defense, man, I mean, this first chunk of the season so far, you guys have not had any problem slowing down your opponent and getting big stops when you've needed to, specifically pressure on the quarterback. You guys even lost Justin Shirk, which some people thought might be one of the bigger blows to a defensive unit like yourself. What keeps you guys so cohesive? Like what gets you out there and make sure that you guys are performing at your very best week in and week out, no matter who's out there with you?
I think it's just guys holding each other accountable. Bubba, he's still in the secondary. He's a really good leader back there. He makes sure people are, studying tape and on the field in the places they need to be. And, up front, there's myself. And, even though Josh isn't on the field with us, he's still in the meeting room. He's at the practice. He's on the sideline with us. And there's Ricky and there's guys, holding each other accountable. And, at the end of the day, you want, everybody doing their job, and you want to feel comfortable knowing that if I do what I'm supposed to do, he'll do what he's supposed to do, and that's just how we try to approach things. You do your part, and I'll do mine, and it'll all come together.
Yeah, do your part, next man up, everything that you can do to make sure that the holes are filled and that you guys don't lose a step, regardless of who's out there getting snaps. For you, who would you say is the leader out there, not necessarily the veteran, but the leader of this defensive unit for Arizona?
I would say the leader of the team as a whole is probably Lamar Beatty. He's probably the guy that sets the pace for the team. He plays offensive line too, so it's a real good spot where you can, set the tone for how the games are going to go or how practice is going to go. And, he's day in and day out coming with the same intensity level, and people kind of feed off of him. And if he's up and he's going and he's running people over, everybody kind of wants to follow him and get some of that too. So I think that he's probably one of the leaders on the team and one of the guys that people kind of go to and look to.
So for you, since people, you're a name that people remember now, and you've had a couple of stellar performances last year and now early on this season, is the leadership role something that you feel you could take on if called upon, like if it was needed on the team or on the defense, or is it something that you kind of just like to go out there and do your part and leave the leadership up to the guys that the team sort of, I guess, gravitates to as the leaders?
I feel like I've taken a leadership role on the defense, just being the veteran guy here, and the guy that can offer us stability and calm the people when we get in situations that we haven't necessarily been in that I probably have. People can look to me and towards me for that, but I think that my leadership style is more of just a lead by example. I'll speak when I need to, but it's more of just with the work ethic that how I lead, and more encouraging, just telling people to come on and work a little harder. And, we'll be good. Things like that. But yeah, I feel like I am one of the guys that the team can look to. It's just there's a lot of ways to be a leader, and I just do it a little different than some other guys.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own niche, right? Everybody has sort of their own role in the team, and that can change and evolve as the years go on. I mean, you're certainly my vote for like a team captain or a leader out there. I think that the results that you've produced or helped produce for the team and your effort out there on the field is arguably one of the best in the league, and I think you've done really well with that. So good on you. Great season so far.
Thank you.
Since this is a team that's seen a couple of losses, not only to injury, obviously Verlin Reed down and out for the season, and then you had Gordon who got hurt. You lost Shirk in the offseason, and a few players have gotten, I guess you would say, called up. They're going to go play for the AFL and seek another opportunity. That hasn't seemed to slow you guys down at all. For a team like the 2019 Arizona Rattlers, for you guys to be undefeated, stay undefeated, and ultimately get back to and win another championship. Do you feel it's past the point of physically and now it's just all your mental focus moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's a real big part of it, and a big part of football. It's mostly a mental game. They think it's it's physically done, but it's done in the film room. It's done on the board and things like that. And I think that the guys that are around and the leaders that are here can help the new guys come in, and the guys that do come in, they plug in, they work hard, and everybody's working like that. So it's just a mindset of it's the next man up. You got to keep going. You got to keep going forward. So it's I think that starts way in training camp. You get that mindset from Coach Guy, and it kind of carries you through the season.
Well, I think that you guys, like I said, on the right path. Certainly no signs of stopping, but brings me to my next point. So this weekend, you guys are going to play San Diego. You're undefeated. They haven't won a game all season. Do you believe in trap games? Is there such a thing at the arena indoor level as a trap game?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't necessarily call it a trap game, or in my mind, it's not a trap game. I try to look at every opponent the same way, but I do believe that there are teams that come up on the schedule that human nature would lead you to relax into the trap or whatever. You might fall into that, and you have to fight human nature and play. They're a football team. They've shown flashes. They score a lot of points. They have a real athletic quarterback, and you have to keep that in mind that, on any given day you can lose. So you have to, come with the same mindset, the same work ethic every day.
Spoken like a champion. What would you say keeps you grounded and focused the most week in and week out?
Just the fact that I'm not there. I know every day that there's things I can work on, and there's things I can do to better my game. And it's far from perfect, and I watch the tape every day, see that. And also the winning the championship the first year, falling short the second year, you learn that nothing is guaranteed. And just because you have people return to the team, or you have a great coaching staff and you play for the Rattlers, it's not guaranteed that you're going back to the championship. And that right there keeps the fire burning. But you have to come to work every day because everybody's working for it too.
Now, Kevin Guy just celebrated his 200th win, and congratulations to you guys on getting that against one of the league's other best teams out there, the Sioux Falls Storm. Certainly a great team to do that against, as well as being at home to accomplish a record like that for your coach. And, Kevin Guy, without a doubt, is one of the best that we've ever seen, probably at any level of football. I mean, clearly he's one of the legends at the indoor and arena game, but I think he's probably just as good as a lot of the top guys at maybe the collegiate and professional level like the NFL. But is he a coach in your mind, since you've been around him for a while, is he somebody that needs to give you guys a speech at the beginning of the game or come in and have a talk with you guys about how you're going into a season? Or do you guys, being Arizona Rattlers, just play for Kevin Guy because he's Kevin Guy and you know that he's that one coach that can get you there no matter what?
I would say that Coach Guy still comes in and gives the speech at the beginning of every training camp. He gives the motivational speech before every game, and it's because he's the leader. He's the guy that sets the standard, and we're gonna follow behind him. So even though we know as Arizona Rattlers that the standard is high, what we play for, and what's expected of us, it's still put out there to him. That picture is still put out, and I believe it's good because you can lose sight of it sometimes. So, you need your leader to step in there and to remind you, and it's easy to follow when it comes from a guy like him. Like you said, he's accomplished pretty much everything he can in this game.
What was his message to you guys at the beginning of the season?
At the beginning of the season, his message was that here for the Arizona Rattlers, we want to compete for the opportunity to play for a championship. And there were things that we got away from last year, and we lost. I wouldn't say lost sight of the goal, but we lost focus during the season. And he wanted to remind us that, just because you are who you are doesn't mean that you're going to be in that game. And you have to come work for it every day. And it starts, in training camp. It's in practice. It's in film. It's in the weight room. You got to every day work for the championship. And that's what he instilled. And, that's where he started from.
What would last question for you? What would a championship mean to you this season?
This season, it would mean a lot, man. It just based off of how last year happened, and how I personally have worked this offseason, how I know guys have worked this offseason to get back, to that game and compete for the championship and right the wrong that we feel we had last year. It would be satisfying to know that all that work was for something.
Oh yeah, of course. You want to make sure that the work that you put in pays off and there's some kind of reward. I mean, work is work. Sometimes guys have that feeling of accomplishment just by doing their job and doing it well, whether there's reward or not. But clearly, reward in the form of hoisting a trophy and a new ring to add to the collection is a nice bonus. So, hey, man, I wish you and the rest of the guys best of luck this season. Obviously, you may not need it because you guys have been doing just fine so far. But keep grinding, enjoying watching you. I've seen the numbers and I've seen your performance, so you're going to be one of those guys that I tell people to look out for this season. So best of luck on the rest of it and keep balling out, man.
All right, man. I thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. He is Chris McAllister, and member of the Arizona Rattlers and a nightmare for quarterbacks. You take care, stay cool down there in AZ, and you have a good rest of your day, man.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, bye. And one more big thank you to Chris McAllister for joining us on the Fan Show. I think the River Kings are the last team that we need to get a member of on the show this season before we've collected the whole set. But I do think, though, that it is great to catch up with them because they're on a different level, The Rattlers have played extremely well this season. And I think that it puts a huge target on their back, but it's nothing that Coach Guy can't handle. Case in point is that he's been there, done that. And same with Coach Curtis Riggs. We'll see what Dixie Wooten does now that he's a champion head coach. This is his first year as champion, and he's got a title that he would like to defend. Clearly, as we've seen so far this season, though, the Storm and the Rattlers are a big factor in whether or not he can accomplish a repeat this season. But I think there's at least out of 10, there are 6 very competitive teams right now, despite what the records may say. We still have a lot of football left to be played in the IFL, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch it all happen this season. And then, of course, Friday we get our next look at another week of IFL action, and we will see the Steamwheelers and the Blizzard. These two teams I feel like have a lot of potential, and I really want to see what these teams can do when they're firing on all cylinders, and hopefully we will get a preview of that as far as if one or both of these teams are going to be playoff bound and contenders for the remainder of the season. It'll be exciting to watch. But the Rattlers and the San Diego Strike Force, I mean, really, it shouldn't be at all anything that the Rattlers can't handle. But you never know, and that's the point. You never know. Chris McAllister does not believe, in a trap game. He knows that they're a thing, but he doesn't feel like this is a trap game for them because they treat every game like it's, I guess, like it's a playoff game is kind of how he made it sound. But they're doing great things in Arizona. They really are. And congratulations to Coach Guy on 200 wins. Congratulations to the Arizona Rattlers on being 4-0 and your new number 1 team in the Fan Show weekly power rankings that we do. Really couldn't hold them out of the number 1 spot anymore. And even though Iowa did not lose and they haven't lost yet, they're one of only 2 remaining undefeated teams. It came down to the fact that the records, what their records are as far as their opponents go. Like I said, strength of schedule or strength of performance, strength of opponent. Because these are weekly, but we do have to take in other things, other factors into consideration. And I had what their opponent's record was. Yes, here we go. So as of week 6, Iowa's opponents combined, the opponents that they have beaten, all 4 of them, have a combined record of 8-12. And even if they get a win convincingly over a 1-4 River Kings team this weekend, it's not going to help their case very much as of yet. So far, their biggest win, realistically, has been over Green Bay, and then next would be Quad City. Arizona's, though, this is where this last win over Sioux Falls did huge for them. Arizona's opponents' win-loss record 11-8, so there's clearly a difference there. Sioux Falls, their opponents combined for 6-14, and Green Bay's combined for 3-9. So Sioux Falls does not have the strength of opponent going for them right now. A win over Arizona would have been huge. Probably would have flipped these, if you think about it. But Arizona's getting it done against all comers. And it's hard to argue with them. As of right now, I believe they are the best team in the IFL, and my power rankings should reflect that. So we're going to do something right now on the Fan Show that I've only done a few times. It's kind of tradition, but there's a birthday of a man that I would like to call right now and see if I can get him on the phone and wish him a happy birthday. So give me just a moment here while we see if we can get Markel Willis on the phone. Let's hope we can keep the streak alive. Markel, what's up, man?
How you doing, Richard?
Happy birthday, man. You're live on the show. I wanted to call, wish you a happy birthday.
I appreciate it.
You feeling good?
Yeah, man. Doing well.
Yeah?
Just, living life. Kind of relaxing, living in Charlotte, so.
I see you got good things going on there, man. I'm really happy for you, and I'm glad that I could be, a part of it, even in some small way. But I love to see you doing your thing out there, and you guys looks like you got a good squad there. So I just wanted to make sure that I reached out, gave you a call. But I know it's a Thursday birthday, so you got big plans for the weekend?
No, not really, man. Just gonna chill. Girlfriend came up to hang out. Gonna go relax, probably go get some tattoos tomorrow, and then I actually gotta work Saturday, so it's not gonna be a crazy weekend for me, definitely.
You should be the guy to get the first ever Fan Show tattoo. That's
Hey, I might consider that one.
All right.
See about it.
All right, fair enough, man. I'll let you enjoy your birthday. I'm glad you answered. Thanks for keeping the streak alive. But you are a good friend, my man, and I wish you all the best. So enjoy your birthday, enjoy your week, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Yes, sir. Sounds good. I appreciate it, Rich.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our Thursday edition of the Fan Show. Happy birthday to Markel Willis. There's several birthdays, but he's been such a cool guy to the show. He really has. Met him the one time for his what would be his last game as a member of the Green Bay Blizzard. Bittersweet moment. He had a great game, so did Jack Bramswig. They won that game over the Salt Lake Screaming Eagles, and it was not the prettiest season, but they finished strong, and that's what Green Bay does. They may not start the strongest, they may not have the best season, but they will play every game on their schedule. They will fight every game on their schedule. So week 7, tomorrow night, Quad City Steamwheelers, Green Bay Blizzard, Sunday, Wrestlemania, Saturday, the other 4 matchups of the IFL. We have an action-packed weekend, Fan Nation, so strap in, hold on tight, and get ready. And remember, it's not official unless it's Fan Show official, including the Fan Show official top 10 plays of the week. So best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.